All right, we are recording. We are good to go. All right, y'all, I'm so freaking excited because we have Morgan Martin on with us tonight. If y'all don't know her, well, you should, because she is freaking amazing and y'all are just going to love her. I mean, she's just so genuine and just amazing. She's a top 50 income earner in the entire company. So you're definitely just going to want to take all the notes and just take everything in. So Morgan, if you just want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, tell us your story, why you started, where you're at now, and then we'll go into like the questions from there.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm so excited. Thank you for asking me to be on this Zoom. I'm super pumped. So my name is Morgan, like she said, and I joined this business 4.5 years ago. Did you unmute me? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, no, you're good. So I joined this business 4.5 years ago, and I was a college student, and I was just broke, living paycheck to paycheck. I wanted extra money for gas and groceries, and that's why I joined this business. And so I really did not think that I was going to be successful with this. I joined to make $100 a month, but I honestly just joined thinking like if I can get one customer, I will not have failed because I was so scared of failing. And so I jumped in, I got started with the business. I was super excited from the get-go, even though I didn't think that was going to be successful. For some reason, I was just so excited. I had tried the products and I loved them. And so I was already telling everybody about it. So I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't think I'd be successful. I really had every reason not to do this. I was in school full time. I was working 2 jobs. So I really didn't have the time to do this. I just moved across the country. So I didn't really have the resources. I didn't know anybody up here. I didn't have the money to get started. So I changed all of those reasons why I couldn't do this and the reasons why I needed to. And I think a big part of me getting to where I'm at is that I've continued to do that through my whole journey. I've had life happen in the middle of my journey with this business, but I've, instead of taking those things and saying I can't do this business because of this, I've turned that around and said, because this is happening, I need this income. So anyway, I jumped in, I got excited, started posting about all of this stuff. And I promoted to Ruby in 4 months. And then I sat at Ruby for a year, and then I promoted to Emerald and Diamond in the same day, straight from a year from right whenever I went Ruby. And then I earned a $22,000 bonus then, and I was able to quit all my jobs. And so that was huge for me. And then whenever I went Diamond, I just stopped dreaming. I wasn't thinking about what I wanted after that. I just kind of sat there and I was just I'm good, $2,000 a month, we ballin', I'm good. And so I just sat there. And so because of that, I sat at that rank for 13 months. And then I went to my first conference and heard Mark talk about, oh my gosh, you can do this. I believe in you. And I remember seeing people like Courtney walk across the little arena as a top income earner. And I was like, dude, if they can do this, I can do this. And so I told myself, I was like, I'm going to be a top income earner next year at conference. I'm going to do that. I want to walk across in that parade. And I was a diamond at conference, by the way, still, with 2 girls sitting next to me. They were the only 2 people from my team at that conference in 2017. And there was 1 person here, 1 person there. We were a diamond. We were crammed like sardines up in a hotel room, 13 of us deep in that hotel room. And it was the worst thing ever. But if you have to do that to get to conference, do it, because it was so worth it. But I remember just dreaming bigger than I ever had before when I was there. And I saw people at speaking on stage, and I was like, I want to be able to do that. I want to speak on stage. That'd be cool. And so I said that I wanted to speak on stage, didn't give it a timeline. I said that I wanted to walk across the stage as a top income earner the very next year. Okay. So then fast forward to March of that year, we promoted to double diamond. And then 2 months after that, we went triple diamond. And my husband, now husband, he was my boyfriend at the time. He was my diamond for double, my double for triple, and he was my triple for presidential. And then he's going to be my presidential for ambassador too. But back then we had earned bonuses for every rank we had hit. So we earned a diamond and double bonus. And then 2 months later, we earned double and triple. And so whenever they had green carpet that summer, they asked me to speak on stage and talk about the bonuses that we had earned. And I was like, oh, I said that I wanted to do this at conference and it's already happening. So that was in February, and I got asked to speak on stage in June. And I was like, dude, this is insane. Like, I literally went from making $2,000 a month to $20,000 a month as a triple diamond in less than 6 months in 2017. So my life changed so much because of going to an event, and those are so huge. So then I sat at Triple for a little while, and it wasn't really for any particular reason. We were just building and working towards presidential. And then in February, so last year at conference, I was announced as the number 149 income earner in the company, and I got to walk across the stinking stage like I said that I was going to the very conference before. So what I want y'all to learn from that, though, is just the fact that I claimed that when it did not look possible. Like, I don't want y'all to be like, oh, well, of course she said that she wanted to be because she was like a triple diamond, or, you know, like she was so close. Like, no, I was not. I was a diamond with 2 people next to me, and I was like, I'm going to get on stage next year, and, you know, I'm going to be a top income earner. And I know that those girls are looking at me like, okay, like, you're crazy. Probably not. So I did it, and I was so excited. So then we went presidential last year in October, and that was just because I made the decision. Like, I was boxed in for presidential almost all of last year, and I just never made a decision to say, okay, we're going to go for it. We're going to push really, really hard, and we're going to hit it. I just kind of had this mentality that I'm blocked in and we're working for it, so it's just going to happen when it happens. That's not true. That's not how it works. You have to be intentional and take massive action towards your goals to be able to hit those. And then I called Cami at the beginning of October, and honestly, this wasn't even the 1st of October. This was like the 10th of October. It was after we had green carpet and my leadership retreat. And I called her, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Why are all my friends promoting to presidential and I'm not? Like, is there something that I'm not doing? She said, you haven't decided. You haven't made that decision. So she was like, I want you right now to make the decision that you are going to do that this month, no matter what. And y'all, did not look possible. The month before I had promoted to presidential, my volume went down from the month before. So in September, my volume was lower than October. And I was like, my volume's going down. How am I ever going to hit this promotion next month? And, or, you know, like, that was my mentality in September. So then in October, I was like, yeah, right. I'm not making that decision because I don't want to be disappointed. And so she was like, make the decision, go live on your team page right now and tell them that you're going presidential and that you want them to come with you, and add me to your team page so I can watch it. And I was like, okay, no pressure. And now I freaking have to do it. So I did. And we went presidential. And I say we, and that mean that with my whole heart. I, like, my team and I went presidential, and it was so incredible to see the difference. Like, I was so boxed in the whole year, but the 1 month I made the decision, it happened. And so then, yeah, so we're still presidential, and we're shooting for ambassador. June 29th is our date. We've been saying it all month long. So, but one thing I do want to say too, and I know this is going to be a question later, I think, but, you know, even though June 29th is our date, we've been running this month like we're hitting it now. Because if you don't run now like you're hitting it now, you're not going to hit it later. Because the thing is you don't earn the promotion the month that you promote. I've been working for ambassador for 4.5 years. Like, everything I've been doing up to this point has led me to this moment. So whenever I say I'm going in June, on June 29th, it's not because I'm going to work really hard in June. It's because I'm going to work hard in May and April and March and February and January. And so all the work I'm doing now is going to get me to the point where I want to be in June. So that's my story. And, because of It Works, it's just changed everything. Basically everything that was in my life before is totally opposite now. We were drowning in debt, putting gas and groceries on credit cards. We've paid off over $100,000 in debt because of this business. We're building our dream home. I don't even know. We've quit all of our jobs. My husband gets to do his dream job. So it's just, we get to live the life that we never thought we would live, and we get to give back in ways we never thought we would be able to. And I'm able to travel around the world and see all these different things. So yeah, it's just, life is good. So that's my story.
I absolutely love it. It's so funny when people are like, so what has It Works done for you? It's like, where do I even start? Like, the list just goes on, and like, it's so crazy. And then when you say it, it sounds like you're actually insane, because it's like, how has it done all of this for me? You know, it's just so crazy. But I just love how you said, like, you just decided, because that is so much of it, is you just truly have to decide that it's going to happen, and you can't just keep putting it off and off and off. And when she just decided, that's when it happened. So when you stood at Ruby for a year and then you went Emerald and Diamond, so were you working towards it all that time, or was it, again, just kind of like one of those things where you're like, I'm sick of being here, like I'm ready to grow? Like, what was it that helped you get over that like hump?
So there's actually, it's funny because I'm going to upload this to YouTube, because I made a video of every obstacle that I've hit in the business going to every rank I've hit. And so it's really cool looking back all the things that I've learned, and I'm like, this was the hurdle I got over to get to Diamond, this is the hurdle I got to get over to this, and these are things I did right, and these are things I would go back and change, and all that stuff. So for Ruby to Diamond, for me, it was focusing on the wrong people. Like, I was so focused on getting everyone to work at the same time. And guys, that's just never going to happen. You're never going to have a chart that's going to be completely working. Even as executive, dude, I had one person working, so I was the other box, you know, like, you're never going to have a chart where every single person is excited and working the same intensity that you are. And so I think that for me, I kept looking at all the people that weren't working, and I said, okay, let me come help you. Let me come try to drag you along. Let me come try to make you want this, which now I know you can't make somebody want this. But back then I didn't know that. You don't know what you don't know. So I was trying to pull them along and motivate them. And I looked at the people that were working really hard, and I was like, okay, you're good. You got this. So instead of pouring into the ones who needed to be poured into, I was trying to help all these people who were going to quit anyways. And then the ones who needed to be poured into quit because I wasn't pouring into them. And so then it was constantly like just building stuff in sand, you know, and then the waves would come and wash it away. And then I'd try to build it again, and the waves would come back. And it was just so hard to get it to the point where we were all on the same page. And so I actually did almost quit at Ruby because I sat there for a year, and two things happened. Number one, I had lost perspective. I really was like, I joined, like I said, for $100 a month is all that I wanted to make. And I was sitting here at Ruby making $700 a month as a Ruby, just with like my commissions and my fast start bonuses. I was a really high paid Ruby. And I was sitting there complaining and saying like, well, I should be here, and I should do this, and I should be at this place, and I'm not cut out for this because so-and-so promoted here faster. So I lost perspective. I forgot why I joined, and the fact that I joined for an extra income, and I was having that, but I got so caught up in the comparison trap and thinking, well, this person's here, so I should be here. And because I'm not good at this. This isn't for me. Give me some hearts or some, you know, yeses in the chats or something if that's been you too, because I think that we've all been there where we're just like, well, so-and-so's here, but I'm not here. And so I suck at this. I'm never going to get there. And I still struggle with that sometimes. And I know Courtney would probably say the same thing. It's just always something that you're going to struggle with, and you just learn how to manage it and deal with it. So, for me, that was something that really held me back. And so I almost quit, but I didn't, because the second thing that happened was that I went to an event, and it wasn't a typical event like like the Austin training that's on June 2nd or anything like that. It was just, they had a cruise, and they did like this whole thing where you could like earn a spot on your cruise. And I got a spot as a Ruby, and I earned my way to this cruise. I'd never been on a cruise before. I was going to Mexico, never had been to Mexico before. So I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to quit, because if I quit, I can't go on this cruise, and I'm going on this cruise because I couldn't afford a vacation. So this was a free vacation. So I was like, heck yes. So I was like, I'm not going to quit because I'm going to go on this cruise. So I went on the cruise, and I finally surrounded myself with people who had the same ideas as me. They had the same struggles as me. They had the same just motivation as me. Even though we were motivated for different things, we were all going to the same place and had the same goals. And that opened my eyes to so much more. And those people encouraged me, and they challenged me. And it wasn't even like a training, but just being around people like that and seeing top income earners on that boat. And I was like, I'm literally in the presence of so many freaking people. Like, I was fangirling hard. And I was like, all these people are so simple. Like, if they can do this, I can do this. And so I went into that cruise ready to quit. And I left that cruise, and 2 months later is when I went Emerald to Diamond in the same day. or ruby to emerald, emerald to diamond in the same day. And that was while I was working 65 hours a week, guys. That's while I was working 9 a.m. to midnight. I think what a lot of us do is we look at these people who are at the top of the company, you know, and we're like, well, it was so easy for them. You know, like Courtney doesn't do anything all day. Like she doesn't have like, not that she doesn't do anything all day, but she doesn't have like a job. She doesn't have to do like, she doesn't have to deal with kids or, you know, a husband yet and all this stuff. And so like, of course she did this. Of course it was easy for her. But you know, back then, like she was in school when she promoted at the beginning of this business. Like I was in school at the beginning of this, and you see our success now and think, of course it was easy for them. But what you don't see is the struggles that it took to get us here. So we were working while we were going through this. I was working 9 a.m. to midnight. I was going to bed late. I was waking up early. I didn't sleep the whole month of February. I'm 99% sure. You know, I was bartending and I was working even though I wasn't supposed to. And I was like, go ahead, fire me because I'm putting my 2 weeks in anyways. Like I'm going diamond. I'm quitting this job. I was so excited. And everybody at work knew my goals and they all did not think it was possible. And then whenever I hit it, they were all watching. They were all listening. They're like, okay, now tell me about it. And so anyway, yeah, that was a really long answer, but that's what changed.
No, so good. And I feel like it's so important to like talk about our struggles along the way, because I'm sure that so many on here, like you guys, you do look at the top people and you're like, you know, you do think it was so simple. So I think like making a video about that would just be so good. And I always say like I failed forward, just like you know, you said, you know, we're working with the wrong people. You're focusing on the wrong people. I did the same thing. And because that, it took so much longer. But now looking back, you know, we're able to like share with our teams and show them how we've done it. And just really be taking this in, you guys, and just be focusing on people that, you know, like just know that your time is valuable, and the time that you're investing in people, you want to make sure that they're showing value to that. And so if they're not, go find someone that will. Because it just takes that one person that's just going to change your entire business. And as soon as you change that mindset, it will literally change your entire business. And if you are feeling like you're struggling, you're feeling like you might want to quit, or whatever you're feeling right now, just know that all of us helped out that way. But the only difference is that we just kept going. We just didn't stop. And that's how you're just going to succeed in this business. So, okay, so we want to know, what do you do on a daily basis to grow your business? Like, what are your must-haves, daily to-dos that you do?
Okay, so every day I post, message, follow up, self-development. Woo! So it's really nothing different than you're already doing. So I'll say it again: post, message, follow up, self-development. And posting includes stories. So basically, like, just, do you want me to just kind of explain each one of those?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what I do let's start with posting. So posting, it could be about the products, it could be about the business, it could be about both. Let's talk about our feeds first. And then I'll get into stories. So with your feed, so Facebook and Instagram, I do work both. I get more from Instagram, but I'm not above trying to get stuff from Facebook, because I feel like if you're going to do, like, why not try it, like dabble in everything, because it couldn't hurt, right? So I spend 90% of my time doing what I'm really, really good at, and then 10% of my time doing everything else. So I do host a post, but I don't do a ton of it because I get most of my stuff just from Instagram still in stories. But so posting for Facebook is going to look different than Instagram. On Facebook, your stuff doesn't have to look beautiful. On Facebook, you can just do statuses. Obviously, we know that, but sometimes we forget that it doesn't always have to be a picture. I love putting little Bible verses on Facebook, or quotes, or, you know, things I think of, or song lyrics, or funny stuff that my sweet husband says, or just different stuff like that, just to kind of let people get to know me. I feel like Facebook's a little bit more personal in that way. And your photos don't have to be perfect. So that's kind of what I love about Facebook, is that if I have a really grainy picture of, you know, me and my dog or something that I love, I'm still going to post it to Facebook and maybe my Instagram story, because you want your Instagram to look bright and you want it to look really beautiful. So that's kind of how I post on Facebook. I do post more often on Facebook, but you still don't want to like spam your page with tons of stuff right back to back, or else the algorithm, it won't be good. But for Instagram, you want it to be beautiful. I usually only post once a day on Instagram, if that. And so because of that, I am able to get more interaction. So it actually helps you to not post as much on Instagram. And my content is always like something that's really quality. So either me talking about traveling or being a dog mom or a newlywed or a new homeowner or something like that people can relate to. And I throw the business in with that. And so, I don't know. I feel really inadequate talking about Instagram because Courtney's like the Instagram queen. So I'm like, I don't know. You just tell us about Instagram. But that's kind of what I do. And the cool thing about Instagram too is that mine doesn't have to look like Courtney's and hers doesn't have to look like mine, and we can still be successful. We all do things differently. So make sure that you aren't trying to be just like me or just like Courtney or just like anybody else, because if you do, you're not going to get as many. And Carly, because she's Carly, people don't want to follow, Haley because she's copying and pasting my statuses. You know what I mean? And for so long, I would do that with people. I was like, I look up to this person and they're where they are because they say magic words in their posts. But that's not true. They're where they're at because that is who they are, and they're people like that are following them are falling in love with who they are. And so because of that, that's where they're at. You know what I'm saying? Like your post doesn't have to have magic words. It just needs to be really who you are and showing that. So put your own spin on that. If you're funny, be funny. If you're, I don't know, just be yourself in your post. So I will post about the business or the products. One thing, whenever I am first talking to people that join the business and they're just like, I don't ever know what to post. I started to think about it because I get that question a lot. I don't know if y'all hear that question too, but I was kind of thinking, how can I train their brain to think of their own posts? Because the last thing you want to do is to give them a post. And then what are they going to do next time they need to have a post? They're going to come to you because you told them last time what to say. And so then they're wanting you to tell them what to say again. My goal, though, is not to just create really good followers. I want to empower people to become leaders. So in order to empower them to become a leader, I'm going to show them what to do. I'm not going to tell them what to do. So I'm not going to, tell you what to post. I'm going to show you exactly how to think of one yourself. So number one, what are you thankful for? So if you struggle with what to post, the first thing, think of what are you thankful for? The second one is what is a short-term goal that you have with this business? Long-term goals would be something like buying a house, being completely debt-free, sending your kids to college, whatever. Those are long-term goals. A short-term goal might be paying your electric bill. A short-term goal might be putting gas in your car, paying, this bill for college that's coming up in the fall. Those are short-term goals. So I want you to pair the two of those. And what that might look like is I am so thankful for my life. I'm so thankful for, this is not going to be me. I'm going to do one for just like random. I'm so thankful for my family, and I'm so thankful that we get to spend time together. And I love days like this where I'm able to hang out with them after I go to work. And I'm so thankful that in the future, because of this business, I'm going to not have to work a job where I'm gone from my family all the time because I love spending time with them. And this business is going to allow me to have even more of that. That's just an example. You don't have to quit your job. I'm just saying if that is a goal for you, if that is a short-term goal that you would like to accomplish this year or in the next few months, talk about that. Talk about where you're going, what you want. Notice I didn't say anything about what this business has done for me because so many people get caught up in that and saying like, well, I haven't made money yet. Okay, well, neither did I, but I was still posting. It's like a catch-22. You can't wait to make money to post or else you're never going to make money. So then you're never going to post. You know what I mean? You have to go ahead and do it now before you make money, and that's how you're going to start. So you have to talk about what this business will do for you. I still talk about that. People don't care what It Works did for me back in 2015. They want to know where it's taking me. People love to follow somebody that knows where they're going. So talk about that in your post. Okay, I'm done. That's about posting. So now let's talk about your Insta stories. Just do those really, really often. If you need help with like Insta stories, go watch Alyssa Bilyeu's video. She's Alyssa Marie on on Facebook. Well, Instagram too, I think, but that's her Facebook name. So go look that up. She did a really cool training on this, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. So that talks about Insta stories. So I'm not even going to go into that because that video is just golden. Go watch it and you'll know everything you know about stories. it changed everything for me. Like, I've been doing stories like that, and my views have gone through the roof because of me doing that. So super, super helpful. And then just do them often, because those are in chronological order right now. So the more that you post, the more you'll be at the top of people's little 5 or 6 people at the top. Okay, the next thing is post message. So I message people every single day. I message for host to post, like I said, on Facebook. That's all that I message for on Facebook. I don't send product model messages on Facebook. You could if you wanted to. Those just don't really work for me on Facebook. So I do host to post on Facebook. I do host to post through my current loyal customers. Right now I'm going through the Connect app, and I'm asking them if they would like to post for me, and then they can be entered into my May giveaway. And then I send them the post, they post it, and they tell me that they've posted it. And then I say, awesome. If you wanted to get 3 more entries, then just make sure that you have an order set up for this month of $50 or more. And so then if now it's already past the 25th, they could just place a separate order for $50 or more. Or if they've already had one, they can just screenshot that to me, and they can get 3 extra entries. Your giveaway can be whatever you want it to be. It could be a wrap that you have at your house. It could be $100. I don't care what you want to do. Maybe your team has one that they're doing together. Enter them into that, and then use that to, incentivize them to do a host to post for you. And so those are what I do for messaging. And then for Instagram, I message for product models. And so I'll message my followers. I'll message story viewers if I run out of people. Another thing you can do too, and I don't know if y'all know how to do this, y'all just have to tell me in the chat if you want me to show you, but if you go to your following, so the people that you follow, you can sort them by default or earliest to latest or latest to earliest. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm changing it to earliest to latest. Here, I'll show you. 1 second. And I'm going through and unsending and resending messages to people that I messaged back in, I don't know, way back when. Let me see. I just got a whole bunch of Instagram follow requests. I'm assuming that's from y'all. Hang on. This is Insights. 1 second. Okay. So if you go from to that, make sure that you're clicking the following, and do you see right there where it says, and you may not have this yet because they're rolling it out still, but sort by default, those 2 arrows right there, you'll click the arrows and it'll say that, and you'll change it to the one where it says, oh, I have low battery, earliest at the very, very bottom, and then refresh it. And you're going to be able to see the first people that you ever followed on Instagram. And so then you can scroll through and click on somebody and then unsend and resend a message to them. So this person I talked to in 2017. So you're gonna be able to find those people. So somebody said, oh, okay. Yeah. So it's still, yeah, not everybody has it yet. So if you don't have it, just be patient with that. But you can always just scroll down through your messages. So anyways, those are some different ways that I message. I also follow every single day. Super, super important. If you're not adding to your network, you're talking to the same audience of people over and over again. And that's going to fall on deaf ears eventually, right? Like, you're going to want to talk to new people so that whenever you share your story every day, I always think like, okay, there's people on my timeline who've never even heard my story before. They just started following me. So it makes me excited to post. I know sometimes we think, oh, I feel like I'm posting the same thing over and over again. Like, I feel so like I'm just like saying the same thing all the time, or that people are getting annoyed with me. Well, if you're following people and you're growing your network every day, that should never be an issue because you're always talking to new people. So what I do for following to find people, for your bio, okay, this is related. For your bio on Instagram, I want you to make sure that it's things that you love to do. Your bio should talk a little bit about who you are. Mine says, I don't even know what mine says. Lover of Jesus, wife to Derek, mama to Nala, which is my dog, drinker of coffee, eater of guac, chaser of dreams. That talks about living a 7-day weekend. And then there's my little YouTube link. So in that, it talks about a little bit who I am. I don't say anything about it works. It works is not in my name on Instagram. That's super important. But whenever I'm stuck on like, well, what do I talk about? What do I post? Well, then I go back to my bio and I post something about one of those things. Because when you're following people, they're looking at your bio and saying, oh, I have a dog too. Or, oh my gosh, I love coffee too. Or she has a cute profile, so I'll follow her. But a lot of times it's because you have something in common with them. So if you want to attract new followers, you're going to start posting about things that you love, and you're going to attract people who have similar interests. So whenever I'm going to follow people, I'm looking for people who are like, okay, well, who am I? I'm a newlywed. So where would I find newlyweds? On Instagram. Where would they be? Think about that. Courtney's getting married. I'm already thinking about places you could go of people getting married on Instagram. If you have a dog, where would they be? If you like coffee and you want to find somebody in your area, where would somebody in your area who loves coffee be at? And see if they tag their location on Instagram. That's how you can follow people that have similar interests. And what that's going to do for you is it's going to help you retain your followers, because if you're posting relevant content to them, then it's going to make them more susceptible to follow you and for longer periods of time. So it all goes together. Your Insta, like your bio, who you follow, and what you post about is all super important. Follow up, self-explanatory. If you don't follow up, you're not going to get anybody, because the fortune's in the follow-up. Most people don't join on the first time that you talk to them. You probably didn't either. So go back and think about that whenever you're like frustrated that people aren't ordering like right away. Like you didn't either. So it just takes time, and following up with them is key. And then the last one is self-development. And even though it's the last, it's probably the most important. If you're not doing self-development, then you're not going to, I always say you can do all the right things, but if you still have a sucky mindset, you're going to always be stuck. So it doesn't matter if you continue to do the right things, with do the right things and say the right words and message the right amount of people. If you have this mentality that you're not going to be successful, or that people don't want these products, or that you're limiting yourself to this ceiling and saying this is as far as I can ever get, all of the things that you're doing are not really going to amount to anything, because you're not telling yourself that you can get there. And so self-development is so, so important, and what that looks like. And I want to be really clear, because I think a lot of people get confused about what self-development is. They're like, yeah, I watched a Jade Hooper training video. I know y'all are all on Jade's team, but I always use this example. I watched a Jade Hooper training video today about how to sign loyal customers. That's awesome. Do that. Jade Hooper's freaking amazing. I watch her trainings. I love her. But that's not self-development. If this business is 90% self-development, why do we spend 90% of our time focusing on the tasks that we need to do every day? You know what I mean? While this stuff is important, and these tips are awesome and they're really helpful, and you should know how to post and message and all that stuff, but then we're taking our self-development time to learn how to talk to loyal customers. Does that make sense? That's not what that needs to be. Your self-development time should be about growing your mindset. Things like an Audible book or podcasts or whatever it might be, that's not a Zoom on how to grow like your business. Like it shouldn't be about that. It should be about your mindset. Pam Souder has a podcast. Denise Walsh has a podcast. Ashley Mayfield has a podcast. Craig Rochelle has a really good leadership podcast. Called The Leadership Podcast. And some of my favorite Audible books, I can send them to Courtney or something, but get yourself doing self-development. If you've never ever done that before, you're like, I don't even know what that is, go look up The Secret on YouTube or on Netflix. Watch that first, start there. That's going to give you a really good idea of what self-development is and how to train your mind to be more positive, like a more positive thinker, and just to grow your mind, because your paycheck will never exceed your self-development. So I heard that and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing some self-development because my paycheck's not going anywhere. So I did that, and it really does make a big difference, guys. It's very, very important. And when you start to get really consistent with that, you're going to notice the days that you don't do it. So those are my things I do every day.
Yes, 100%. And like, it's so crazy because like we weren't taught, or at least I wasn't taught growing up, like do self-development, like read books. And now it's like, it's such a crucial part. And every single leader we have on here, y'all, they say this for a reason. It's because there's no way we could get to where we are today without that, and constantly being able to pour in. Maybe you're sitting there right now and you're like, I'm doing all the things daily that she's saying as far as posting and following. But if your mindset is not in that place, and you're not being intentional about what you're doing, like the people just aren't going to come. But as soon as your mind gets in that place and you just truly believe it, it's crazy. They just like start coming out of the woodwork. So, okay, so good. All right, so I want you to share. So I'm sure that you have this all the time as well, but you have people where they're like, like they just feel stuck. Like they've been either at their current rank for a long time and they just can't get past forward, or they're just like, you know, they just keep putting it off month after month after month. Like what is something that you can share with them just to get off and just like decide to just go for it? Uh-oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I think the biggest thing, if you feel stuck at a rank, it's probably because number one, you aren't doing self-development. Honestly, like I will say that till I'm blue in the face. Like if you're not doing self-development, that's the first thing I would change. And so if you're like, well, I do self-development every day, it is something that's growing my mind, it is helpful, my mindset's in the right place. When's the last time you did something different? If what you're doing isn't working, go do something different, you know? In that leadership podcast I was telling you about by Craig Groeschel, he says, date the model and marry the mission. So date the model, which means the way that you get to somewhere might look different than the way you got there before, but your mission never changes. Your mission is always to hit diamond or to go ambassador or to be financially free or to pay off debt or whatever it is. So that's your goal. That's the mission, and that never changes. But the way you get there and the way you thought you'd get there might have to change a little bit for you to be able to get to that next level. And so for me, that's looked like, you know, I don't know, changing the way that I'm doing Instagram, because the way that I was doing it before wasn't really working. And so changing those things honestly has helped my mindset get better, because I know that I'm taking control and doing something about it. What I hate is to see people who feel like they're stuck in this situation and they're just like, I'm stuck. And then I give them some ideas of things to do. And I, you know, mention like, this would be helpful. And then they come back to me a month later and they're like, I just feel stuck. And I'm like, well, did you do those things? And they're like, well, no. Well, okay, there you go. You know, you have to change something. If what you're doing isn't working, do it differently. And that doesn't mean to totally do a 360 of everything you've been doing, because then you're not going to realize the thing that it was. But maybe it's the way that you post. Maybe that could be better. You know, maybe it's not that you're not messaging enough people, but that you're not messaging enough of the right people. Maybe you're following just a big group of people who have a broke mentality, who don't want to do anything about it, that aren't into the type of things that we sell, which is health and wellness and things like that, which we have something for everybody, but not everybody wants those things. Like not everybody wants that for themselves. So I think digging really deep, and whenever I have people on my team, because I do, who say that they're struggling, I always try to listen to them and really hear them out and figure out what it is truly why they're struggling. Because it's not, you know, they're like, well, I'm sending out all these messages, you know, I'm posting every day, I'm doing self-development, but you know, how, like, what self-development are you doing? Because maybe you're not doing the type of self-development that you need. You know, maybe you're doing like a real fluff, rah, whenever you need somebody to kind of smack you in the face, like Grant Cardone. He'll smack you in the face. If you need a smack in the face, go listen to 10X by Grant Cardone. He is hilarious, but he is very red and he will get you. So I love listening to him when I need a big like smack in the face. And I love listening to something like Rachel Hollis whenever I need a big like cheerleader to kind of cheer me on, and she'll smack you in the face too, but it's different. So you just kind of have to be listening to a couple different things at the same time with self-development. Think about who you're following. Like you're following, well, that's great. But if everybody you talk to is broke, follow different people. You know, if everybody you talk to about the business says that $99 is too much, talk to different people. And a lot of this too, I do in affirmations. So every single day, I do affirmations and I say, I'm attracting my dream team. I say things like I'm attracting my ideal customers. And so those types of things and speaking that out honestly does make a huge difference, because it does start to happen, but also because it puts my mind and just it like makes my mind more positive, and so I don't feel stuck. I think a lot of times too, stuck is just a mindset. Like if you're not promoting as quickly as you feel like you should, you feel stuck. But I know right now with my personal journey, I went presidential in October, and you know, now it's about to be June and I'm not hitting ambassador this month, but we're shooting for it and we're going to hit it next month on June 29th. But I don't feel stuck. You know, and I didn't hit ambassador right after I hit presidential like some people do. But I don't feel stuck because, number one, I'm growing. I'm growing in my mindset. My team is growing. My volume is higher than it was last year. A lot of us look at volume month to month. And we're like, oh, my volume's up, my volume's down. Well, look at it from year to year and be inspired by that. Go look at your May paycheck from this year versus your May paycheck from last year. You won't feel as stuck anymore. A lot of it's your mindset and just knowing, like, if you know that you're moving forward, ring doesn't really matter as much as if you're doing something every single day to get closer to where you want to be. If your team is growing, if you're enrolling, if you have rock stars, if you have new leadership, if you are learning different, like I'm learning so much about leadership right now. I'm learning so much about mindset. God's just been showing me so much, and I don't feel stuck. Even though I've been stuck at presidential, I could say I was stuck, but I know that I'm not. So it's a lot of mindset. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know.
No, definitely 100%. And I feel like you have to like continue to give yourself something to like work towards, you know, like she said, when she started for $100. If she would have stopped when she got $100, she would have stopped really quick. You have to continue to just want more if you want to continue to grow past that. And I feel like if you know, what's so awesome about this is that we're constantly poured into and told like, you can have more, like keep going bigger. And I feel like as you continue to grow, you'll come across that a lot because you're like, what else could I want from this? You know, like it's done so much for me, but like the way to grow is you have to want it so bad that you're just going to be so intentional about your goals. Because if you're not intentional about it, you can be doing all the things every single day. You can be going through all the steps. You can be doing all the messaging and all the following. But if you're not intentional about a goal, it's just not going to come together because your mind just is not focused on what you want from it. So figure out what you truly want from it, why you want it, and want it so freaking bad, and know that like there's no ceiling to it. Like you can have whatever you want, and that's just so awesome. So I don't know about you, but this month I've been getting like so much of people that are just like, Courtney, my team's so unmotivated. Like they're just not doing crap. Like I feel like it's like crickets. Like what's going on? How do I motivate my team? Okay, so like what is just something that you do when you feel like you're just getting that? Because I feel like it's always like at the same time and it's like several different people coming at me and they're like, everyone's unmotivated, you know, like, so what do you tell someone when they're just like, how do I motivate my team?
So momentum is the easiest or the hardest thing to gain and the easiest thing to lose. Okay, so what a lot of that has to do with is momentum. Okay, momentum creates excitement. It creates people being motivated. It creates loudness from your team. What I think a lot of people do is they are very defensive when it comes to momentum. And what I mean by that is they wait for it to die off. And then they're like, oh, we need more momentum. Let's create it again. When it would be so much easier and so much less work if you just kept it going. And as a leader, that's why we say leadership is so hard, because guess who that falls on? You. It falls on me. If my team is not motivated, what have I been doing to create momentum? What things have I been talking about in my trainings? How many times have I been doing Zooms throughout the week? How many power hours are we doing throughout the week? What content am I putting out on my team page to hype people up and get them excited? I think a lot of that is stuff that I've been learning too this past month that has really helped me a lot, because I wasn't on the offense for so long and I just kept watching momentum die off, and then I tried to create it again and it took forever, and then as soon as we recreated it again, then it would die off. And so it was exhausting, it was frustrating, and it was discouraging. And so a lot of people, it didn't create longevity for the distributors I was signing. Like a lot of them would fall off as soon as they joined because they just lost their momentum. So a lot of that and how to gain momentum and to keep that momentum is casting vision. If you're not casting vision, if your team doesn't know where they're going, then they're not going to get there. You know, the Bible even talks about that. He said, a people without vision will perish. So if you don't have vision, you're not going to be successful. It's like trying to get somewhere you've never been before without a roadmap, and you just jump in the car and you're like, okay, I'm going to start driving and I'm going to go to Florida. I know it's down south, so I'm going to head that way, but I'm not going to take a map. Number one, you're either not going to get there. If you're in my car, you will definitely not get there because I am horrible at directions. You'll not get there, or you will take a heck of a lot longer to get there because you don't know where you're going. So you'll either never get there, or you'll take a whole lot longer to do so. So if you have a roadmap, you know exactly where you're going, and that vision is your roadmap. If you don't know where you're going, how will you get there? So if you know where you're going, that needs to outpour into your team. Like, you need to be overflowing that vision that you have for yourself into your team. For so long, I never had a vision at all. So neither did my team. And then I learned the power of self-development, got a vision for myself, didn't share it with my team. And now I'm finally learning. Here I am as a presidential 4.5 years in. Don't make the same mistakes I did. A lot of people, you know, smart people learn from their own mistakes, and really smart people learn from the mistakes of others. Don't take 4.5 years to get the vision for yourself and share it with your team. It's 2 parts. You can't just have the vision for yourself and hold it to yourself. You know, that's why Jesus told the disciples to go tell other people, because he was like, now you have this amazing gift. Don't hold it to yourself. Like, go tell it to everybody else, right? And so that's the same mentality we have to have. We have this vision, and so we're going to go share that with other people. And so I think that vision is where you want to go. And somebody says, is it short-term or long-term? It's both. If you don't know where you're going now and your goals are so far in the future, why are you going to run today? Right? That's why I told you before about posting. Talk about short-term goals. That's going to keep you pushing. And the people that are watching you are going to see you hit that short-term goal really fast. They're going to believe really fast, because they're going to be like, she just talked about paying for that car and she just did it. Like, that's really cool. Like, what is this business about? Same thing. Short-term goals are going to keep you running today, but you have to have long-term goals too, because when you hit that short-term goal today or this week or this month or next month, what's going to keep you pushing farther if you don't know where else you're headed? Right? You don't have a goal beyond that, you're going to stop and you're going to get stuck right there. So you need to have a list of dreams, both short-term and long-term. If you don't, then you don't have vision. And when you get that vision for yourself, you have to cast that vision for your team. As a leader, we have to see farther. Reach higher, see farther, and care deeper. If you're not reaching higher than the people on your team, then they're going to feel stuck. And I'm not saying that this is all on you, because I have had leadership in the past that wasn't super hands-on, and guess what? I got here anyways. Like, this very much depends on you, and each person on your team very much has responsibility for themselves. However, if you think that your team isn't motivated, it falls on you. You have the power to change that type of culture within your team, but you have to take action in order for that to happen. So you have to cast the vision for them by telling them where they're going, reach higher than they are. See farther than they are. My people that are talking to me about Emerald, I'm like talking to them about Double Diamond. You know, I'm casting that vision for them. I'm not looking at where they're looking. I see farther for them. And I'm thankful that somebody, you know, in my upline saw farther for me than just Diamond whenever I hit it, because that kept me going. That casted that vision for me. And then same thing, like, you have to care deeper, because they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you start creating those friendships and those relationships, they're going to stay longer, and they're going to come to you whenever they have issues. The worst thing you can have in your team, and I've had this before, is where people don't think they can come to you with their issues. So they're sitting and they're struggling on their own, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like, everything is falling apart, but I feel like I can't go to Morgan because she's just like has it all together. And I had this persona that, like, I had everything together, and it was for the right reasons in my head. But what it was telling my team was that I never had struggles and I could never relate to what they were going through. So they didn't come to me about that. But now we have this open communication. If they're like, this sucks, dude, then we're able to talk about it and we're able to get through it, and then we can continue forward. So you want to be able to be approachable, and you want to be able to care about them so deeply that you care more about their goals than they do. But you also have to have that for yourself first. If you don't have it for you, you can't have it for them. So that's kind of what I would say about that, because that's real close to my heart right now.
Yes, no, that is so good. And it's so true. I remember, like, every time Ashley, who's my enroller, she'd be like, all right, Courtney, like, this month you're going Diamond. And y'all, literally her telling me that, like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going Diamond this month. Like, it was just like someone else just, like, telling me that and telling me that they believed that I could do that was, like, everything for me. Even when I was, like, crazy far away, like, had no idea how it was going to happen, I was like, well, it's happening because Ashley said that it could happen. And, like, I just trusted in her so much, and her pouring into me meant so much. So be pouring into your team. Tell them that you believe in them, what they can do. And I feel like there gets to a point every single month when we're going for that promotion and we're like, oh my gosh, but can it actually happen this month? Like, the fear starts creeping in. And then as soon as you just have someone just be like, you can do it, run for it. Tell me, put a 1 in the chat when someone has just told you, like, just go for it. If you had made it happen, from someone just pouring into you and just be like, let's do it. Like, let's finish the month off strong. We can do this. Do that for your team. Believe in them just as much as you believe in yourself. And that's just going to go down to everyone, you guys. It's just going to be crazy. So, okay. So what are some things that you do to just stay super connected and just like to pour into your team? Like, what are those things that you do to make sure you're staying on top of casting the vision for them and just staying super connected to your leaders? I'm sure you do like Zooms and stuff too weekly, but like, what are some things that you do for anyone, even like new leaders? You guys, as soon as you have one team member on your team, you are a leader. You are pouring into them. You are leading from the front. So just what are some things that you do for your team to just make sure you stay on top of that?
So whenever you have like a larger team, it takes a lot of intentionality, because if you're not intentional, it just doesn't ever happen. So I always message, like, I have like a list of people who I talk to. I was just like looking at my planner, but I'll write down random people's names. Like each night I plan out my day, and random people's names for my team that are top leaders will pop into my head, and I'll write their name down, and I make it a point to call them at some point throughout that day, the next day. And so I'll call them and we'll talk about life. It'll be a 5-minute phone call, and I'll like tell them something stupid or whatever, but I connect with them. Or I'll ask them, how's your vision? How's your belief? Like, how are you doing? Do you need a game plan? Are you running into next month already? Like, how's it going for you? And I just make it a point to talk to them, because I think that's super important. With my new leaders, I write down, or just like my new distributors, I write down to message them every single day. So I'll just write in new DTs. So I'll go in my Connect app and I have them in little groups, and I just message them like a quick, hey, how was your weekend? Like, how's Memorial Day? Did you have a good Memorial Day? Like, what'd you do? And I'm connecting with them as a friendship. I'm also, talking to them about their goals. Like, a lot of them come to me first, and those are the ones I can see that I'm like, that's a leader. They're coming to me before I have to approach them. And a lot of times, like, that's a real good sign of a leader. And it's okay if they don't, and I reach out to them. So it's just about being intentional, but I have to write it down or else it doesn't happen. And then a lot of times, like, I'll see people that are really, really killing it, and I'll make sure that I do a shout out. Cami always says people will work for the money, but they'll die for recognition. And so you have to make it about both. And we have a post on our team page that one of my leaders does every Sunday, and she's a yellow, so she loves this type of stuff, and she does a shout out post every week. And so she does a little shout out thing, says why we're doing it, and we just go crazy tagging people in it every Sunday. And we're just like, so-and-so did this, so-and-so got 100 messages out yesterday, or so-and-so signed her 4th customer and got her shopping spree, or whatever it might be, and small or big. And so we just love to shout people out and do that recognition. I do top enrollers every week. I'm trying to think. I'll go live pretty regularly in my team page and encourage my leaders to do that too. And I like whenever it's not just me, because I feel like I can offer this much, but this person can offer even more stuff and different stuff than I can. So I really like to have my leaders do the same thing. But I'll go live and anything that I'm thinking, like, that's the thing about doing self-development. This stuff just outpours, because some of us are like, well, what do I even say? Like, I wouldn't know what to say in a chat, because maybe you're a Ruby or you're an Emerald and you just got a team chat. You're like, I wouldn't even know what to say. Well, if you're doing self-development, it just kind of overflows. And you're just like, I have a lot to say. Sometimes I have to schedule out my live videos because I have too much to say. And so I start making posts and things like that, but just staying connected with my leadership. And we have a leaders chat too for, it doesn't matter what rank you are, but just like a leader type person in our team. And we have that, and we do different like leadership Zooms before our team Zooms every week, and do team Zooms every week. And so I think just being really consistent with those things that you do every week, doing them at the same time on the same day, which LOL, because we normally have our team Zooms on Monday nights at 10. And so we're totally not doing it at the same time and stuff this week, but we're being flexible and we're doing this instead because this is a good idea. And because yesterday was Memorial Day. So, but anyways, that's kind of what we do with our leadership and kind of how I try to stay connected. And I'm not perfect at it. It's definitely not something that you're gonna ever be like, okay, this is a perfect little combination that I'm doing right now. It's just gonna be something that you continuously have to work at and get better at.
Yes, I love that. And I think it's just so important too, like if you guys are feeling like you're getting a lot of messages where they're like, oh, I feel like I'm not growing and I just feel stuck, get on Zooms. It doesn't matter if it's you and one other person, you guys. just get surrounded by other people. I don't know about y'all, but every time I get off of Zoom, I'm so pumped up. I'm so ready to get to work. Like I'm just excited. And it's just because I'm surrounded by you all, and like y'all's, excitement is contagious. And so get on Zooms. It doesn't matter if you have one person on, two people on, whatever you have to do, but get surrounded by those people, and it's just going to change your entire business. So our time is almost up, so I will not keep you on here much longer, but I just want to say thank you so much. I told y'all she was freaking amazing. I did record this so I can send it over to you as well. I'll try to get it uploaded first thing tomorrow.